back to the channel, guys. Got another awesome video for you. This time it is the Yu-Gi-Oh! Spellcasters Command Structure Deck. I've been waiting so long to do this one. Back in the day, this was one of my favorite structure decks that you could possibly get. The Magician stuff was awesome, obviously, and this deck actually has some amazing cards that people still use. I'm just going to open it up and show you why people love this deck. Okay, so Yu-Gi-Oh! Spellcasters Command Structure Deck. Let's get right into it. Summon the Master Magician. Overpower your opponent with the Spellcasters Command Structure Deck. Every spell card you put into play now creates spell counters. By placing these counters on your new Spellcaster cards, you can unleash their mystifying effects and summon the Master of Magicians. And this is the deck list here. Just some of the cards in the deck, and there's the mat, but we'll go over it. It's funny because they don't even show like the boss monster in the deck on the front. I'm gonna try my best to keep this intact. So let's see if I can this is like take 2 on the deck, by the way. They had this was originally released years ago, and I think they remade it because some of the cards were getting really expensive. But let's see. That's not too bad. Alright. Okay, so here's the deck. Yep, this has definitely been reprinted, you can tell. So, rule book here. Then we got a mat, which I will open up for you guys. This beautiful mat. Endymion right there. If any of you guys want the mat, let me know. I can work something out with you guys to get it over to you. And here is the deck. All right, let me scoot on up and try to do this. I've been waiting a while for this one. Okay, so we got Endymion, the Master Magician Structure Deck. Is there a better way to open this? There we go. Just want to be careful with it. Okay. Endymion, the Master Magician. You can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard by removing 6 spell counters from a magical citadel of Endymion you control. If summoned this way, target 1 spell card in your graveyard. Add that target to your hand. Once per turn, you can discard 1 spell card, then target 1 card in the field and destroy that target. That's pretty awesome. This card was just so damn cool. Alright, we got Disenchanter. Once per turn, you can target 1 face-up spell card on the field. Remove 1 spell counter from anywhere on the field, and if you do, return that target to the hand. Wasn't that amazing, but you know. Defender, the Magical Knight, another great card. Hannibal Necromancer. Summoner Monk. I think this is actually the first deck with Summoner Monk. Pretty sure, back in the day. Dark Red Enchanter. Very cool card. These are all the magicians, the magician stuff without being magicians. But here's a Dark Magician. Skill Dark Magician. Apprentice Magician. Another Apprentice Magician. 2 of them. Probably for the spell counters. Old Vindictive Magician. I actually used to play this card in a lot of decks when I was a kid. You flip it, target 1 monster your opponent controls, and destroy that target. It was my first Raikou. Magical Marionette. Used to use this card all the time. Breaker. This card used to be amazing when I was a kid as well. Come out as a 1900 beater, so when it's summoned, you place a spell counter on it, and then it gains 300 attack for each spell counter on it. Remove 1 spell counter from the card, and then target 1 spell trap card on the field and destroy that target. This was huge back in the day. A card that can do so much when it came in. It can either be a beater when it came out, or it could do something extra. This was great back in the day. It used to be pretty sure this was an ultra rare when it first came out. Magical Plant Mandragola. More spell counter support stuff. This just adds more spell counters. Royal Magical Library. This was actually pretty. I'm pretty sure back in the day with the Exodia decks, people used this because every time you would use a spell card to draw a card, you would get a counter on this, and eventually after a couple cards, you would draw because of this effect. So that was pretty sweet. And it had a pretty solid defense. Blast Magician. I don't think anyone really ever used this card, but still pretty cool art. I love the Magician stuff. The old spellcaster stuff. Mythical Beast Cerberus. Pretty sure they have a new pendulum version of this monster standing up. That's going for like $20 now. But it's nice to see that like the old art stuff come back with a new twist. Maiku, Master of Barriers. You can tribute this card, then target one face-up continuous spell card or trap card on the field. Destroy that target. Not too bad. Crystal Seer. This used to be an ultra rare at one time. This is actually a pretty popular card. Flips, you activate the top two, and then you add one of them to your hand and place the other one at the bottom of the deck. So it's pretty much like I don't know, like kind of like a Pot of Duality, but not full. In a monster. That's pretty good. Magical Exemplar. I actually saw this card used a couple times. Each time a spell card is activated, place 2 spell counters on this card. When that spell card resolves, once per turn, you can remove any number of spell counters from this card. Special summon one spellcaster type monster from your hand or graveyard whose level is equal to the number of spell counters you remove. So that could be pretty cool to get some bigger stuff out, or even just get an extra like level 4 dude out. I don't know. Now this is one of like the main cards of the deck. This is one of like the most valuable cards in the deck. Magical Citadel of Endymion. It's just so good. So pretty much each time a spell card is activated, you place 1 spell counter on this card. When that spell card resolves, if a card with a spell counter is destroyed, place its spell counter on this card. Once per turn, if you would activate a card effect by removing a spell counter from your side of the field, you can remove that many spell counters from this card instead. If this card would be destroyed, you can remove 1 spell counter from this card instead. So like your spell counter stuff gets pretty silly, and this card just doesn't die sometimes. So it's just one of the cooler field spell cards that's pretty much come out ever, and it just looks so dang cool. Definitely one of the more memorable cards from this deck. Especially this card. This card is great too. Target one face-up card on the field, you can place a spell counter on it. Place 1 spell counter on that target. Then you can add 1 spell power grass from your deck to your hand. You can only activate 1 spell power grass per turn. So this is like double. You get 2 spell counters just from one effect from this, and then you get another one out. So you can weave through the deck, and you get spell counters, and it's a pretty good card. Magicians Unite. If you control 2 or more attack position spellcaster type monsters, target one of them. Its attack becomes 3,000 until the end of the turn, but other spellcaster type monsters you control cannot attack. So this is just like, oh, you gotta truck over something? I got you. Magicians Unite. Kinda, right? Miss Body. This just makes one of your dudes invincible, pretty much with damage, battle damage. So it just makes one of your dudes can't die by battle, but cool. Malevolent Nuzzler. This is a classic card. It's been around for years. If you don't know Malevolent Nuzzler, then you don't know classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Same thing with Giant Trinade. If you don't know Giant Trinade, you don't know classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Fisher. Swords of Revealing Light. These are all classic cards. Swords was great back in the day. Definitely saved my butt when I was playing the school ground. Mage Power. This can make your monster huge quickly. Gives your monster 500 attack for each spell or trap card you control. So you can get up to what? 3,000 attack, right? So you can have up to 6 spell cards if you include the field spell. So that's 3K. It's pretty cool. Terraforming. Great card for pretty much anything that uses a field spell. Don't need to explain that. Enemy Controller. Great classic card. Great classic cantrip. This used to be one of the most played cards back when I used to play. Same thing with Book of Moon. Book of Moon used to be like every deck ran Book of Moon back in the day. Same thing with Enemy Controller. Those were like the staples of like 10 years ago. Magical Blast. This one was pretty cool. If you control a spellcaster type monster, you inflict 200 damage to your opponent for each spellcaster type monster you control. During your draw phase, if this card is in your graveyard, instead of drawing a normal card, you can add this card from your graveyard to your hand. So essentially, you could just be pinging your opponent for 1,000 each turn if you have 5 spellcasters, or drawing a card. Magical Dimension. This is actually one of my favorite spellcaster support cards. So essentially, it's a quick play spell, and if you control a spellcaster type monster, target one monster you control. Tribute that target, then special summon one spellcaster type monster from your hand. Then you can destroy one monster on the field. So you get a special summon of a big dude out, right? And then you get a big dude out, and you destroy one of your opponent's stuff. So pretty solid. Twister. Pay 500 life points to target one face of spell or trap card on the field. Destroy that target. MST's better, I think, but I mean Twister. Field Barrier. Field spell cards on the field cannot be destroyed. Neither player can activate a new field spell card. You can only control one Field Barrier. I think this is more helpful back in the day, where if you played a field spell and your opponent had one, then it would just destroy their field spell. But now that's really not a problem. So there's really no use for this card anymore. So except for the part of protecting your field spell. Magician's Circle. This used to be one of my favorites back in the day too. When a spellcaster type monster declares an attack, you can special summon a spellcaster with 2,000 or more attack from your deck in attack position. Your opponent can too, but if they're not running any spellcasters, then you just get a free dude. So that card is awesome if you want to get more of your guys out. 2, Pitch Black Power Stones. This used to be awesome back in the day. It's just another support for spell counters. Comes into play with 3 of them, and then you move it to other stuff. So it can be helpful. Tower of Babel. Each time a spell card is activated, place 1 spell counter on this card. When that spell card resolves, if the 4th spell counter is placed in this card, destroy this card, and if you do, the player who activated the spell card at that time takes 3,000 damage. This could be pretty dangerous, because you're playing obviously a lot of spells, or the whole purpose of this deck is spells. So like, this is kind of a volatile card, but this could be pretty bonkers if your opponent triggered it and then, like, you know, it went off on them. I mean, heck, if you were playing like some like Pendulum Hatred deck or something like that, if you're playing like a Hate Bears deck, then this would be great, because like, what, you're for playing against Pendulum Magicians, they do whatever they with their stuff and they take 3,000 just for doing it. It's pretty silly. If you get 3 of them somehow in turn 1, then you just OTK. Magic Cylinder. This is just one of the most hilarious Yu-Gi-Oh cards in the game, I think. Pretty much it says like your opponent's dude attacks, and you just say, nah. But yeah, this is just brings back a lot of memories, a lot of nostalgia, because this deck was awesome back in the day, and it had a lot of useful cards for like 10 years ago. Plus, it just brought the spellcasters to like a newer age in that time, to something like viable. And it was just awesome to see cards like Endymion's Magic Citadel and the Spell Power Grasp. Those were just awesome. And then new spell counter support like Magical Exemplar, Mythical Beast Cerberus, I believe, was in the other deck, where Dark Eradicated Warlock deck. But you know, great days with these cards. Anyways, thanks for watching my moments of nostalgia. If you guys like what you see, just subscribe below, and like and subscribe. Well, I already said subscribe, but just like the video, and let me know what you guys want to see next. I mean, I love these openings, and I do them mainly for myself, but I love to see what you guys say, and maybe this channel can be something. Let me know, guys. Take care. Good night.